Everyone has had a first kiss, but is it the kind of kiss that you were thinking about? In 1907, the Hershey Company began producing flat-bottomed chocolates that were hand-wrapped and called Hershey Kisses. I've had many kisses before, and in fact they are one of my favorite of the Hershey candy, right next to the original Hershey chocolate bar. I've been doing some research and I have found some interesting facts about Hershey's that I would like to share with you. We will be exploring the life of Milton Hershey, the growth of the chocolate business, and the making of the delicious candy. First, let's explore the life of Milton S. Hershey, the name behind the famous chocolate. On September 13 of 1857, Hershey was born on Homestead in Pennsylvania. He was born to a religious, down-to-earth Mennonite whose name was Veronica Snavely Hershey, and his father was Henry Hershey. Henry Hershey was always looking for a job to support his family with. And because of that, Milton did not get a good opportunity to have a good education. Through 8 years of his childhood, he attended 7 different schools. In 1871, Milton dropped out of school permanently to work for a local newspaper printer. Hershey was very self-conscious of the fact that he did not have much of an education, but he made the best of it. On May 25, 1898, in New York City, Milton married Catherine Sweeney. The loving couple never had any children, and because of that, they decided to open up an orphanage for boys. The orphanage was called Milton Hershey School. Milton did not remarry after the death of his wife in 1915, but 30 years later, Milton passed away. Now we can begin talking about the business itself. The beginning of the business was a bit shaky, but eventually when the time was right, the business became a big success and grew tremendously. Milton's first candy business was opened at the age of 18, but after 6 years, it was closed down. He then tried again and failed. His third try was back in Lancaster, and it was a caramel business. His caramel business became so successful that it began shipping to all of the U.S. and Europe. In 1893, Milton attended the World's Columbian Exposition, where he learned the art of chocolate making. Due to the increased demand of chocolate, he decided to open the chocolate factory. He began using the chocolate to cover his caramels, but in 1895 he also began selling the excess products to confectioners. He did not have the milk chocolate recipe at this time because the Swiss had kept it a secret, but he was determined he was going to find out that recipe. So through trial and error, he finally found the recipe, and that's when his business started blooming. When his business started blooming, he decided to sell his caramel business, and in 1900, it sold for $1 million, which that is a lot for that time period. The factory was not an ordinary factory at all. Milton had a strong care for people, and he believed that workers are better when they are happy. And to make his workers happy, he decided to make his company into a town. He provided them homes, grocery stores, churches, parks, a community building, an amusement park, swimming pools, and many, many schools. He believed in schools and providing many of them because of the fact that he did not have a good education. He wanted everyone else to have a better education than he did. With a company town and a growing business, besides Milton's caring personality, what other key factor helped make this business successful? Well, of course, it's the chocolate. So let's find out how to make that chocolate. The world's largest chocolate factory isn't the most simplest. The process is quite delicate. It begins with the cacao tree. Its botanical name is Theobroma cacao, which means the food of gods. How ironic is that? The tree bears melon-shaped pods which are hand-picked and disassembled to remove the seeds inside. The cocoa beans or seeds are piled up for fermentation, which takes about a week. It causes the shells to harden, the beans to darken, and the flavors to flourish. Next, the beans are taken to the factory where they are cleaned and stored by origin of country. The beans from different countries are gathered together and blended until the flavor is just right. At high temperatures, the beans are placed in large revolving roasters, and the beans go through a machine that separates the shell from the inside of the bean, which is called the nib. At this point, it's chocolate liquor that is being made, but don't worry, there is no alcohol involved in this. Fresh milk is then received, tested, pasteurized, and mixed with sugar, then slowly dried into a thick substance. This substance is then combined with the chocolate liquor and dried into a chocolate crumb, which is just a brown powder. The chocolate crumb is then added to cocoa butter, which makes it smooth, creamy, and rich in flavor. This substance is now called the chocolate paste. The paste is then smoothed out by rollers, which can take up to 72 hours. And finally, the chocolate is ready to be used to create products. The chocolate company started with caramels coated in chocolate and developed into the milk chocolate Hershey bar. Today, the Hershey Company has a wider range of products. Some of their products are Reese's Buttercups, Paydays, Twizzlers, Whoppers, Almond Joys. They even have chocolate syrup, York's patties, and even Jolly Ranchers. Today, we learned about the successes, failures, and the life of Milton Hershey. We also learned about the growth of the famous chocolate company and how the chocolate is made. The chocolate is still famous and delicious as always, but if you're not a fan of the chocolate, I'm sure there's something out there for you. There's much more to learn about Hershey and his factory. Hershey, Pennsylvania is up and running with many historical sites to see and adventures to take. So if you would like to learn more about Hershey, take a visit to the famous chocolate town.